Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 3 versus 3 on Valley, and I'm going to be playing with the 6th Panzergrenadier, which is a new German division available in the Landshut DLC. We are underway, and let me just take you through what we have going on. So, some Iltis Milan, going to be zooming ahead. These do have special forces traits, so they're going super fast. And they also have the airborne trait, so they are deployed way far forwards, which is going to be good because we have the potential to catch out units that may be coming down these exposed roads in the middle of the map, and also potentially on this left-hand side. We also have some Kampfschwimmer that are going to be moving forwards, as well as the Heimat-Aufklärer, and we've also got some more Heimat-Aufklärer there, moving out into the flanks, because this map does have some pretty big flanks on a 3v3. And then we've got some Milan 2s. They're going to be helping the Iltis Milans out. We've got a Green Archer, which has this big circle. This is the new counter-battery radar that was introduced with the artillery rework. So anything that fires within this circle will be revealed. Any artillery, that is, specifically. We've got a Leopard 1A, 1A1 that's going to be capturing the sector there for me on the left-hand side. And we've got a Leopard 1A, 1A2 as well. Back to that. Helping win the air battle with Commissar as the F-16 goes down. But here we go, the initial engagements coming underway. Managed to get the Heimat-Aufklärer unloaded. And these are some pretty scary units. These are the Moskaya Spetsnaz of Eagle. They have the RPO incendiary launcher, so my poor reserve recon infantry is not in for a good time there. I'm going to be unloading here as well, just to try and hold off those flanking maneuvers. My whole idea for this game was to basically hold the left side of this map at range by using my gems, and then kind of help push into hotel or golf, or both. So I was just kind of spreading out here, as you can see, setting up a nice defensive line, a little bit of defense in depth, and then I'd be able to help focus on hotel and golf, which is the main two contested points in this map. This map is interesting because it's quite concentrated. And this game really showed like a really cool game where I had to like think tactically in multiple ways. So at the start, as I mentioned, my tactics were to defend the left side and then help hotel, but that swiftly changes as Eagle starts sending units around my flank. So I am going to be bringing in a BO-105, which has the Hot 2, and potentially we can catch some of those transports out. We've also got an F-104 that's going to be coming in to help with the disparity here. My poor Heimatjäger getting beaten on by Moskaya Spetsnaz and the Desant Moskaya Pechota. Really nice bombs from the F-104. That's two 454 kilogram bombs. Wipes out those squads instantly. Really sweet strike there that Eagle wasn't too happy with. I've also now got one of the new recon aircraft out, which I really adore. These are super cool. 650 km/h speed. Perfect for covering your flanks. So in this case, I managed to use it to spot the location of these trucks. And whilst the HDGams are going to be able to engage those trucks and take them out, we still need to now deal with the infantry. So it's up to the F-104 once again to come in with another couple of bombs and see if we can take one of those out. We're going to probably do some damage to one of the squads, but not the other. And I'm going to need some infantry. So I'm bringing in my own special forces, the Kampfschwimmer, the extra ones that I had left, to kind of go and engage these squads. They do have MP5 SDs, they've got the HK21, the G3 and the Satchel there. They've got Special Forces shock traits, so the perfect infantry to get up close and personal. Going to have to be a little bit cautious about the napalm launcher of the Spetsnaz, but otherwise all good. Milan 2 going for the BTR-60. Heimat's going to be forced back, but yeah, HGM's going to be trying to keep the enemy at range, and I've got recon in position now as well to keep an eye on things. Also, this sniper from Lightning is fantastic as it can see really quite far. But unfortunately for us, Warm Conehead has also been distracted on the right-hand side with a flanking attempt here. And Lightning is not quite into the town yet. So our opponents have the +1 by holding Golf. And we'll probably soon have a +2 because I'll be holding hotel as well. But I'm going to be moving in here with the Kampfschwimmer. They're going to be finishing off these infantry at close range, and we continue on the hunt towards the Spetsnaz. And the Dio the whole time flying around here. I love the sound effect on this. It's super cool. Seeing the Moskaya Spetsnaz down there continuously. It's hovering about, giving me that information that I need. So I'm trying to get the M113 here into a position that it can use its MG3 to assist this engagement. Because currently like a 2v1 in squads, but the Moskaya Pekota, they do have the Resolute trait. So their cohesion is not lowering, and therefore they're maintaining that accuracy for longer than the Heimat's, and that's why we're kind of losing this engagement over time. But with the M113 coming in and staying at a distance, it has full accuracy, and it's able to just start pumping damage onto the Moskaya, which is really going to help us out a lot. F104 is off cooldown, so just going to be bringing that in to finish off that squad. The BTR-60 is going to find my M113, so that's going to end up taking that out. And Cohen's going to continue his push through the right-hand side here towards Eagle. Unfortunately for him, the Moskaya Spetsnaz pretty rough. So it seems what happened in this game is I'm obviously here in Charlie. Eagle was tasked with covering Delta, but what his tactic was to send his like really good infantry around the flanks on both sides of the map. So Eagle's got troops on both sides. We're just cleaning up the stuff on this side that he's probing me with, and Conehead's having to deal with it on this side, and Commissar's also backing this up a little bit. So it is distracting us enough that we're not able to contest the center of the map as effectively as I would have liked. But I am finally bringing in some Marder 1A2 Milans, which I'm hoping can use their Milans at distance to help cover the advance of the infantry. The Kampfschwimmer are going to get found and taken out because of Padosniki that are moving up. These guys spotted them with their very good optics and the Ka-29s, which are some of the new naval helicopters. Yep, the shots on target there with the rockets. So yeah, a bit of a rough one so far, but Heimat Afkada there, taking out BTR-60 is nice, and we do manage to finally finish off the infantry in the bottom left of the map, so I'm happy with that as well. Now, in order to break back into the center of the map, I thought I would probably need some artillery, so I brought up the 175mm artillery guns. These are pretty big boys, and those will try and basically destroy any infantry that's bunkered down in these buildings. Unfortunately for me, Armada 182 Milan did get taken out before the Deckungsgruppe unloaded. Fortunately, the Deckungsgruppe are just super cheap, so I'm not too worried about them dying. Ka-29 catching shots from the ADATs. Machine gun from the 1A, 1A2 trying to finish the job, but not quite getting it done. And that was unfortunate. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is just kind of solidify my left flank a little bit. And you can see exactly where I'm unloading these. So I'm unloading them a little bit further back. I know that Eagle's going to have better close range infantry from me, so I'm standing off from these forests that he can get into very easily. And whenever he's forced to come across the open, that's where I'm going to have the opportunity to destroy his infantry efficiently. So that was the plan. So 175 mils engaging the buildings. Commissar pulling back from those shots pretty quickly. ADATs and the Roland trying their best to take down the MiG-21 that comes in with a bombing strike there. But you see we're in a little bit of predicament right now with the +2 against us. So we're just going to have to really start to work our way into the corner of Hotel. Trouble is, the longer we wait, the more troops they're also going to have, and that's going to make their defense of this area a lot harder to break down, because we've got this sort of big gap here in between that we're going to have to get across, and all of their units are going to be fortified in these buildings. So yeah, it really does leave us with a bit of a problem, especially since it's such a small front as well. And Marine Sicherungs coming in, and they're going to be able to hold the line there for me. Counter batteries coming over for my M107s, but I was able to move them in time. Here comes some more Marder 1A2 Milans for the left. Again, just backing that up, trying to prevent as much flanking on the left side as possible, because if a leader somehow gets into Charlie, we're going to be having a real bad time. It's the same reason that Cone needs to stop them from getting into Echo, because these are +2 sectors. So it would turn into a +4 or even a +6 very quickly if they manage to contest and then capture one of these points on our backside. So that's why it's so important for us to maintain those areas. But alas, the +2 is still ticking in favor of the enemy, and we're going to have to deal with that ASAP. Cheeky Jeep here, just trying to zoom into the corner of Charlie, but I took that out with the Heimatjäger. Now I've got the Panzergrenadier coming up, and the plan here is to use the Jaguars to help cover the open with the tow, and then we can use the Panzergrenadier with the 120mm Tampala to give us smoke. So bombs away. Unfortunately, one of the F-104s goes down, but we do manage to clean up that Spetsnaz. I'm also going to be bombing that building there. We got the Tornado IDS coming in, which does manage to kill an Osa and the Barusa. So some pretty good kills for us. MiG-29 goes down trying to kill the Tornado. So yeah, overall good kills against the aircraft, and now it's just a matter of waiting really until we have adequate forces to attack Hotel. This Tornado IDS is going to be coming in. I've got to be kind of careful here because whilst we are going to get the Osa kill, Kommissar Krug is playing with the Rugener Gruppierung, which does get the Krugs, and those things are his speciality. Like, bear in mind, this has 50% ECM. That Krug has like 30% accuracy. Yeah, this is what he likes to do. So that's like maybe a 20% accurate Krug at max range, and he's managing to pop those shots in there and one-shot my poor aircraft out the sky, my poor seed aircraft, which is supposed to counter radar to begin with. A-29 still causing problems. Roland's going to have to fall back because I didn't want it to get killed by the T-80U, but finally the ADATS kills that helicopter, which is a good kill because they're not cheap, those Ka-29s. 175's been doing their job. We're just going to make sure that they keep moving throughout the game. Anytime I'm not moving them, they're sort of vulnerable to counter battery. Panzergrenadier going to be starting to put down some smoke, so that maybe Lightning Bro can take advantage of that to get into the corner of the sector there, or at least I was hoping. The 24 coming in with the HE, wipes out the Fuchs Milan and the Roland. Nasty bombing strike. The 336 has some really, really nasty bombers. Heimatjäger with the M113 and the Leopard 1A1 should be fine against the Moskaya Pekota. This is what I was saying about keeping a distance against this infantry. Anytime there's like units coming out of the tree lines here, we're going to have the advantage, and that's what's starting to happen here as the Heimatjäger hit them with the Carl Gustav M2, and the Marder 1A2 Milan has actually a good sort of vantage point on the hill, which is able to use to engage the infantry coming out of the tree line. So Eagle going for another cheeky push on this side, but going to be hitting a brick wall. Kampfschwimmer in the middle, no AT on those, so the T-55 AM just able to chip them down, but fortunately, you know, I've changed my settings recently so that I don't have auto cover on automatically, and it allows me to hide behind buildings a lot like this a lot easier. And the Heimatjäger are going to go down, but we do still have like my two Kampfschwimmer here, so if the infantry gets too close, we will be able to take those out. These Moskaya Pekota aren't going to be getting very far either. Anything comes further down, the Leopard 1A1 can fire. So here comes the rest of my points anyway, into the Heimatjäger. And the Panzergrenadier is going to start dropping more smoke. So you see I've queued a few smoke orders again, so that we can move these Heimatjäger into the bottom of Hotel, and then maybe we can get a leader in there afterwards or something. So F-104 coming in with the bombing strike on the left-hand side. Managed to take out the Moskaya Komroti, so leader's dead, both the Moskaya and the opener taken out by the autocannon. Deckungsgruppe are actually pretty good in this scenario because they got the two MGs and the marksman rifle, so Yeah, all of this infantry is just getting chewed up with the help of the Kampfschwimmer, and that's really nice. But again, we're still not winning the game anytime soon unless we contest hotel or golf. So I'm really trying to get the push going here. Lightning's going to start moving up his convoy of Leopard C1s. And my infantry is going to attempt to take some of these buildings on the bottom of the sector. If I can then keep that mortar alive, we can continue to smoke that and get a leader in there. So I'm bringing up a Fuchswürfe, we're bringing up the Heimatjägerführer. And this is where sort of the plan really started to change, where I'm focusing way less on this left-hand side to try and stop Igor, because he's just been a big distraction. And I'm actually trying to just like force my way into this sector. So I'm able to use the smoke to get in. We unload safely. But now we're going to get bombed to death. Massive cluster strike on the left-hand side. Smashes a lot of Lightning's tanks to pieces. Bombers coming in from everywhere. 2 MiG-21s plus 2 24s. Absolutely annihilates the poor Heimatjäger very, very quickly indeed. This is what I was talking about. The longer we wait, the more like assets and stuff they're going to have to help them defend this. So the first attempt at getting in there through the smoke absolutely failed. And that was really rough for us. And again, Lightning Bro lost a lot of his vehicles. A lot of those tanks getting taken out in like one big cluster strike. So a bit of a mistake on his part. Needs to make sure he spreads those out. So I'm going to bring in my own Leopard 1A1s so that we have that armoured support that we need. And I'll make sure to spread mine out as we push into the sector. So the leaders have arrived, but now there's no cover, so I can't really commit them forwards. And the Heimatjägerführer is not going to get anywhere close, especially with the enemy artillery coming in and more of that like napalm potentially being available. So I'm looking at this engagement and I'm thinking to myself, I can try it a few more times, but then we're going to have to try and figure out like another way to get in here. So we'll let the Leopard 1A1s arrive and we'll give it another go. I've got a couple Panzermortars on the way because my other Panzermortar ended up getting killed. And that's just because I need that smoke to make these effective pushes. And I need probably more than one mortar to do the smoke because otherwise there's just too many gaps. You can see that the smoke was already very like dispersed, even from that range. And the other issue you have is the timer. So there is not very long on smoke. I think it's maybe like 30 seconds or something to use it. You have to be kind of careful, but either way, while I'm focusing on this, you can see that I am taking a little bit of counter battery. Fortunately, I'm really far away from the enemy artillery, so the dispersion is pretty large, and that is going to give me a chance to get out of dodge. So whilst we do take the big cohesion loss and a bit of damage, ultimately those are going to survive. 222 coming in with the bombs. Does get taken down by the Roland and the Sky Guard. And this is where I looked at this and I was just thinking to myself, why? What would be better for us to do is to potentially attack into Gulf instead. There's a lot more cover here. So the issue of pushing across the open in this situation is we're using this road to get up to the front. And then we have to push across this big gap that I was talking about to these buildings. And not only are these buildings going to be defended by HDGMs and such that we saw before, but also the airstrikes coming in. And it's all kind of obvious because the smoke's showing exactly where all the units are going to be. It just needs big bombers to land on target, which is exactly what the enemy has in large numbers. Whereas what I can do is maybe use the right side here as cover and push in this direction. So we can push from Echo to Golf, and in doing so we can also potentially help relieve Cone from his flanking issues. So that way we can concentrate our forces and we only have to worry about the left flank. So I could maybe just smoke here on the left, and then we have a bit more space to work with than just where the smoke is in this sector. So we're making sort of an entire different strategy here to try and get in, and I'm getting my Leopards ready to go. So they're all shifted over here. I even moved over that Heimatjäger. Unfortunately, one of them died to an HGM on the way over. We've got the Pioneers here as well, because my division has some pretty decent close-range infantry, actually. We've got the Strandmeister coming in, for example. Those guys are going to be fantastic for helping push through the tree line here on the right-hand side. So That was the plan. And that's, again, going to relieve Warm Conehead from having to fight in the trees here and allow him to kind of push out. I think I said to Cone, like, midway through this game that he should just, like, focus on maintaining fire onto the gap in between the trees rather than, you know, fighting in the trees, because Eagle just has better infantry than him. Just like I'm doing over here, like I'm using the gaps to maintain distance. So if we do the same over here, that allows us to then put our forces straight into Golf. So Panzergrenadier is firing away now with the smoke, and they're going to be covering the advance of the Leopard 1A 1A1s, because the Leopard 1A1s are okay in penetration, but they lack range. So we need to be able to get close to be able to do any damage against T-72s or T-62s and so on. 224 coming in with a napalm there, right on top of the Leopard C1s. It's going to start burning them up. Fortunately, we do shoot that down, which is really nice, and these bombers being used for these targets is great for us because it means they're not going to be targeted at my push. So that's another thing about shifting position here, is our opponent's like off cooldown of these aircraft, but now we've shifted our position of attack, and a couple of my infantry are going to go in first. They're going to be trying to soak some of the airstrikes. We've still got some extras on the backside here ready to go. But ultimately, I'm just trying to get the tanks into position to whittle down as much of the defense here as possible. So the Pioneers engaging at a distance with the Handflammenbatalon and the Uzis. Doesn't really make sense with the Uzis, but either way. Heimatjäger have pushed in, and it's revealing a lot of the infantry that's defending here. It's a lot of Reservisten, it's the Strada 2Ms. So I'm feeling more confident. We got some more infantry on the way. All these bombers coming in, looking for kills. Thankfully, my stuff's kind of spread out enough. The Leopard 2A4 is kind of unlucky to catch that cluster strike, because it was probably more aimed at my Leopard 1A1s. But regardless, we're doing some decent damage to these airstrikes, and all the airstrikes are coming in again, as you can see. This time around, this cluster, really nasty, takes out both of those Leopard 2s. And my Leopard 1A1 survives, but still got the armoured support here, so this is good. There's a lot of points for the enemies into those aircraft, and once the aircraft are taken out and used up, that means I can continue to flood in with more units. And we've really started to break down the Reservisten that are holding the flanks of the town. And my Leopard 1A1s are getting close enough to help deal with the T-72s here. So T-72s trying to back it up. Does end up hitting my Leopard on the move, but the Leopard's, as I mentioned, still engaging, getting the job done. And I'm also dropping more smoke so that we can cover the advance of the Strandmeister. These Strandmeister that were like on the flank here ended up bumping into a lot of infantry, which was unfortunate. And one of them got taken out, but the other ones managed to push up quite a lot. So I'm feeling more confident that I can get closer to this tree line without getting completely killed. More and more infantry on the way here. And we are getting to a bit of a time limit, so 5 minutes, 50 seconds until the enemy wins the game. So we've really got to slow that down and try and win this back. So Pioneers moving in, Strandmeister moving in, we've got the Heimatjägerführer moving in to try and counter the cap here. But just countering this cap is still a +1 for our enemies, so we've still got work to do. More cluster thrown in by our enemies. A little bit of a push coming in here from Commissar. Commissar's built up a bunch of troops here and tried to push into the flank. But we've managed to just like plow through, and now they're really rushing to reinforce this sector, which is great for us. So the YPRs of Warm Conehead, they're shifting up. Unfortunately, getting a little bit closer to the Moskaya, allowing the T-72 to pick those off. HE bomber and the MiG cluster coming in. Make short work of my leader, but I do have the Fuchsfufu ready to go, and with the cluster bomber being used there, I was happy to move that in as well, just to slow down the game a little bit. Because at the moment, if we can keep it on a +1, it gives us 10 minutes to react to this game, and maybe we can then put something into a hotel, we can turn the game around and so on. Panzergrenadier's going to be trying to help kill some of Reservisten. Strandmeister kind of struggling there. Yeah, Fuchsfufu in the corner, nice. Leopard 1A1 still managing to get some shots in. More infantry being flooded into these buildings is really, really helpful. So things looking good for this counterattack now into the sector. Su-20 now coming in with the cluster bombs. That's looking for the Leopard 2A4. Ends up clipping My poor Fuchsfufe in the corner. It's a really good value out of that Su-20. And I don't have another leader ready to go just yet. Another infantry one is on the way. We've also got some more AA, so Roland, Gepards. We weren't doing a good job of shooting down a lot of the enemy aircraft, but you can see that some of them are still getting away from it as some of our AA was being broken down over time. A little bit of a counter push on this side. Eagle and Vector trying to offset the pressure that we're putting onto this sector. And this is why I really liked this game. I really wanted to show it on the channel. Super dynamic game in a 3v3 where we kind of changed what we're doing multiple times. So I managed to hold back the infantry on the left hand side, as was my plan, so that I could push into Hotel. We try to push into Hotel, doesn't work, so we have to shift over to pushing from Echo to Golf. And yeah, as you can see, it became a bit of a bloodbath. More of the smoke now coming down. I'm hoping that I can get the Heimatjägerführer in there. I've got a couple Leopard 1A1s coming up as well. They're ready to go. I'm just waiting for the Gepards to arrive, and we've also got some military police. The military police are going to be super important here because it helps with the cohesion on all of our units. Leopard there, firing up into the T-72 that's found its way onto the ridge. Beaky ends up cooking off as well. Other 1A2 is coming in to help. Roland hitting the Su-22, ends up going down. And there we go, Heimatjägerführer back in. Just in time to slow things down once again. Now we just need to get one into Hotel. And you can see that we do have our opponents scrambling to try and recover this at the moment. MiG-21 coming in with a HE bomb onto the leader. MiG-21 catches a missile and it goes straight into the mountain there. This Heimatjägerführer is still alive though, so they're still contesting. But a +1's not going to be enough, so we really do need to get another leader in here ASAP. So, Panzervernichtungsgruppe arriving. Unfortunately, don't unload one of them in time, but the other one's going to get out. And these are going to be pretty important for dealing with tanks at closer ranges. Unfortunately for me, Kommissar's flank here with the Pihotasmech and the Reservisten is going to catch out one of my Leopard 1A1s, but you can see that the strategy of holding these guys at a distance is kind of working, but they're desperately trying to push leaders into Echo now so that they can cancel out our little contest here and push themselves to a +3, so that's not good. Rocket plane coming in from Warm Conehead, doing a good job there, but catches a Krug shot to the face. So we're able to prevent them from contesting that for too long. Now Lightning bringing up loads of mech rifles. I've got some more tanks on the way as well, the Leopard 1A, 1A2s and the Jaguar 2s. Gepard not quite able to finish the job on the MiG-23. Whenever these aircraft are like a little bit further away, the Gepards really do struggle to finish things off. Ideally I needed like a few more of those to help get the extra damage in. Because the Roland was actually hitting pretty reliably. So I just needed the Gepard to finish off those units. Kone's 204s getting taken out. A lot of the Leopard 2s in this game were getting destroyed pretty easily by cluster and a bit of lack of micro, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Milan teams over here engaging any units that are trying to cross the open. I basically spread a bunch of HGMs on this little town so that we could cover the center of the map whilst we continue to push on this side. But we're running out of time. 2 minutes 50 seconds till victory for our opponents. And all I can do is just keep trying to push stuff in here. Maybe get a contest onto Hotel would be nice. We've got a little bit of foothold into the backside of these two sectors again. So it will open up more of a flanking engagement. Beautiful shots there by the Tornado, by the way. Osa and the Krug taken out, and we managed to survive against the Su-15, the MiG-29, and the rest of the radar AA. So beautiful stuff. Now the Jaguar 2s trying to help kill some of the T-55s, but they still have their smoke, so not much I can do there. Nice bombing strike comes in from the Hornet, and the mech rifles, they're continuing to try and make progress, but another blob was hit very hard. More HE being thrown around. We've got to try and just contest potentially both, or just full cap this right one ASAP, but still loads of infantry flooding in here, and another Marine Pioneer Führer that is going to be starting to contest, so it's going to take away some of our time as the score starts ticking even faster. The Leopard 1A, 1A1s were in position to prevent that from lasting too long, and I'm going to be bringing in 2 of the F-104s there as well. So we do a lot of damage, ends up with a little bit of friendly fire, but it's all good. Unfortunately, just not really enough time. 40 seconds left on the clock. Another of the enemy aircraft taken out. Like, all of these aircraft that we've been taking out throughout the game have been really adding up to the point where, you know, we're ahead on the ground as well, and we're able to like continue this offensive. But we just didn't have the time. We didn't contest these sectors fast enough throughout the game, and that did leave us in a bit of a pickle. So 10 seconds left on the clock. Lightning Bro comes in with the reserve leader into the corner of this sector last moment. Keeps the score on 1,996. Heimatjäger are going to get found though, and that is only a matter of time until we get hit by artillery or we get hit by airstrikes. The reinforcements are just arriving. 3 Leopard 1A, 1A1s, or 1A, 1A2s, sorry, have come in. 224 coming in with the napalm. Currently targeting the corner of the sector, so Heimatjäger survive for a little bit longer. It's only a matter of time until they knock out either the reserve leader or the Heimatjäger, and there's not going to be anything else to help contest, because I think at this point, like, a lot of my leaders had been used up. And there's the artillery landing on the Heimatjäger, and the reserve leader's now getting pushed by a couple of BTR-80s. As Lightning Bro's reinforcements here are just a little bit late to the party. 224 coming in with the bombing strike there as well. Gepards and Cheetahs, yeah, finally doing the job. With that one gone, they're going to capture back the sector, and that is going to be GG. Iltis also ready to pounce. There is a guard with a Metis there though. That Iltis is not going to make it in time. And there you have it. Really interesting game. Unfortunately a defeat for our team. But you can see the KDs were pretty close. You know, I was ahead like 5,970 kills to 4,620. Lightning Bro was just over a 1-to-1 KD. So you can see that, like, especially if you consider the amount of aircraft we shot down, the disparity on the ground was going to be well in our favor in this game at that point where we just lost. Unfortunately, because we didn't contest the sectors early enough, it didn't fall in our favor, like, at the end of the day, right? Which is okay. And my 175 there managed to counter battery some Akatsaya, so that was really cool. We managed to destroy a lot of their AA with Seed, which was cool, and some artillery as well throughout the game. But ultimately, the thing that I liked the most about this game was the change in strategy, you know, having to open up, deal with the flanks, then focusing on one sector, realizing it's not going to work, then moving to the next sector, and then we do make it work. And that was just really cool. Like, yes, we lost, but you could see that if that game was going for another 10 minutes, or we maybe hadn't got so far behind on conquest score, there was much more of a chance that we might have been able to turn that around, which would have been really, really cool. But alas. Fun game, really fun game, one I wanted to share with you guys on the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.